Homegrown Terrorists, an I-Team investigation, Sunday at 10.
To ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers.
The Missouri season was kept alive with the Mo Miracle against San Diego State. Trailing by 4, less than a minute to play, and Blaine Gabbert finds TJ Moe. Touchdown. Last Saturday night, the Tigers showed the Oklahoma Sooners these are the new, not the old Missouri Tigers. Offense and defense, very formidable. Nebraska displayed their versatility on the road. They lead the league in rushing, but they came from behind, totaling 51 points, and all the scoring and offense was through the air. The Air Huskers, not sure it'll sell a lot of t-shirts, but it sure plays well on the field. They fight for the North title. Mizzou and Nebraska next. A veritable sea of red coming across the bridges, headed for Memorial Stadium, and another sellout. And the day, absolutely magnificent. In fact, the grade we give it, an A+. Welcome to ESPN College Football and Roadblock Saturday. We are in Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Missouri Tigers will take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. The standings in the Big 12 Conference, and as we look at the North, Missouri perfect, 3-0 in the conference, 7-0 overall, and for Nebraska 2-1 and 6-1 in conference play. Hi everybody, Ron Franklin along with Ed Cunningham, and welcome to Lincoln, Nebraska. The name Martinez has become a household name in this community. A little bit of a hiccup 2 weeks ago, but good heavens did he make up for it last week.
You know, Taylor Martinez is a guy who has to learn by example. That's what Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator, told us. He can't learn on a grease board, not looking at film. He's got to go out and experience. It was a tough experience against Texas at home 2 weeks ago. He was benched, came back on the road against Oklahoma State. First player in the history of this program to throw for over 300 and run for over 100 in the same game. It was lights out for Martinez.
And let me ask you a question. I labeled this Nebraska team as a very good football team. Why did they have trouble winning at home?
That's the big question around here, and one that Bo Pelini and his staff have been looking at. They changed their schedule yesterday, spending more time at the hotel. They even joked about maybe driving out of town and coming back. But the problem has been in turnovers. It has been big mistakes. You go back to Iowa State last year, they had 8 in a loss there. And that Texas game, they lost that because of turnovers.
One of the things we found out about the Missouri Tigers is a healthy Blaine Gabbert means a very healthy and good Missouri football team.
And it was last year against Nebraska on that rainy night on Thursday night where he injured his ankle, and Ndamukong Suh on a sack. He's been great so far this year, and talking to him yesterday, he said he learned from that injury how to stay in the pocket and make more of his reads downfield. He was almost perfect in the fourth quarter against Oklahoma.
Well, the Nebraska Cornhuskers preparing to come onto the field, led by their head coach, Bo Pelini, and listen to this ovation. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back and visit with the coaches, Gary Pinkel, in just a moment. Part of the capacity house here at Memorial Stadium, as Randy Crystal, our referee today from the Big 12 Conference, gathers his group at the center of the field. Nebraska has won the toss, and they will kick. Missouri will receive it to start the ball game here today. And this is as great an entrance as you could have in college football. And on a day like today, it's absolutely just the way you would draw it up. I mean, we got temperatures in the low to mid 60s. I don't think the wind is going to wind up being a problem. We certainly hope not. This time of year, that can happen in the state of Nebraska. And Gary Pinkel down on the sideline, his ball club undefeated. And you see his record for the length of time that he has been in Columbia, Missouri. And a lot of people think this one is the best one on the card as you look at Bo Pelini, and why not? 7-0 against 6-1. And probably the person who walks out of here with the victory in this one wins the North.
Well, and it looks like Oklahoma State's going to win against Kansas State, which would give them 3 losses in conference. So Nebraska with 1 loss, Missouri with none. It sure does look like the winner could run this thing out and be the Big 12 North representative in the Big 12 championship game.
Now Kanalik has it teed at the 30-yard line. It's blown off the tee one time. We'll see if we have to get a holder. Well, it looks like it's going to hold. Marcus Murphy is the deep man for the Missouri Tigers. Kanalik moves forward and we're underway. This one is going to go 9 yards deep into the end zone. No return. Kanalik goes back over to pick up his tee. Blaine Gabbert. Here's the profile on him. Baldwin, Missouri.
A young man who originally committed to Nebraska, and when Bill Callahan was let go and Bo Pelini came in, made the switch to Missouri, and you can hear that these fans have not forgotten that.
Pressure. Gets away. Been tripped up, and they're going to say at the line of scrimmage. We had a question about Pierre Allen if he would play or not, and I think that answered it right there.
And that was more pressure given up by this Missouri offensive line than you saw almost all of last week against Oklahoma. And Allen, a senior who battled injuries last year, good speed rush off the edge. He was right in Gabbert's face when he got the ball.
Gabbert sets and throws, has it incomplete at the 23. Some of the impact players in the ball game this afternoon.
Well, for Missouri, TJ Moe, the Moe miracle against San Diego State. Great inside receiver, very strong, good after the catch. And a very key defender for Nebraska, Eric Haig. Nebraska plays almost exclusively a nickel 5 defensive back defense. Haig plays kind of a hybrid safety linebacker. He'll be very important in the run game and the pass game for Nebraska.
Third and 10. Gabbert retreats. Pressure gets his pass away, and he just throws it away. How about a 3-and-out to open? Heavy pressure from Jared Crick. And this crowd is on its feet, and boy, are they making some noise.
You've got to expect that Carl Pelini, the defensive coordinator and defensive line coach, got after his guys this week. Bob Stoops, after last week's game, said this was the most physical Missouri team he'd seen up front, and I'm sure that is a lot of the reason why they deferred after winning the toss and went on defense first, see what they could do with their pass rush.
Niles Paul along with Rex Burkhead back deep for the Huskers. Grabner the kick and going to be taken at the 30-yard line. That's Burkhead collided with Paul. He's going to wind up with a gain of 5 yards, and time for a player profile. 50 yards and a kick, 4 on the return of Taylor Martinez, the quarterback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
And he has been very similar to how the team has played. On the road, he's played lights out. At home, not so much. Struggled against South Dakota State. Struggled and was benched against Texas. But last week, Barney Cotton, the offensive line coach, said on the sideline, guys, our quarterback is growing up. Let's go with him. Let's see how he reacts at home today.
Breaks it on, has 5, has 10, and he's off to the races. In fact, he's going to score on the opening play from scrimmage, 66 yards.
The trap block by Ben Cotton. He's a tight end lined up in the backfield, almost just absolutely put the great cut block on Aldon Smith and opened up a huge hole. What a nice block by Cotton.
Henry with the extra point and automatic. And Gary Pinkel, literally, as the expression goes, they have to feel as though they have been hit right in the mouth in the opening minute of play. So we'll take a timeout. 66 yards of the touchdown run.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Well, 3 and out, and then on the first play from scrimmage, Helu goes 66 yards for the touchdown. And I'll tell you, these people have not warmed these seats at all because everybody in the stadium is standing, and you can understand why. That is the 3rd time this season that Helu has run 60 yards plus from scrimmage.
Guy who's really helped his draft status as a senior. He runs well, he catches the ball well, he blocks well, and a guy with that much speed. And Carl Geddes, the safety, who was over the top, completely took a bad angle because I don't think he expected Helu to be quite that fast.
Well, the last kick was 9. This one's going to be about 13 yards beyond the edge. Let's go down to the sideline, Janine Edwards.
Well, guys, this is not the kind of start that Missouri coach Gary Pinkel wanted. You know, coming off a momentous weekend last week where they had an historic win, first time ever the Tigers defeating a #1 ranked team, he said, we can't let up one iota. He's been watching his guys' body language in practice, paying close attention to their approach and their focus. And he said, if we let up even 1 inch, we will pay for it here in Lincoln, where guys, they've only had 1 win since 1978.
Gabbard hands the ball off. No, keeps the ball and is going to go down at the 20-yard line. Thought he had handed it to Devin Moore, but he keeps it, and there's nothing there. Defensively, Nebraska is very, very sharp to start this ball game.
And when we talked to Gary Pinkel and his staff this week, he said on Monday and Tuesday the players were like rock stars around campus. Of course, game day was there last week. They set a record for attendance. We thought his team was focused, but right now they're reeling a little bit.
Moore this time, and he is tackled just beyond the line of scrimmage. Well, something's got to give here. You look at the Missouri offense and the Nebraska defense, and those numbers it shows you just about halves. And the same thing with Missouri offense and the Nebraska defense and points scored.
And for Missouri, it'll come down to the run game. Nebraska gave up over 200 yards 2 games in a row rushing to Texas and Oklahoma State. So if they're going to consistently move it, they have to get the run game going, I think.
3rd down and 10. Gabbard. Blaine gets it away, and he just throws it away. That was Pierre Allen again with the pressure, and in 6 snaps from center, they do not have a positive yard yet.
Well, right now, one of the things that Nebraska said they were going to do defensively is simplify, because Missouri does so many different things. We talked to Dijon Gomes, one of their safeties, and he said it took forever to see all the things they did, but Carl Pelini took a lot of stuff out of their package, and they're playing at a very fast pace right now.
Here's the boot. Not a good kick. Off the side of his foot, very short, and now takes a Missouri bounce and is going to go down to the 35-yard line. We'll take a break. 7-0. Nebraska leads.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. And Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper.
Oh, there's so many options for Halloween costumes. Our special thanks to the Spirit Halloween Superstore in Lincoln for letting us see some of the choices.
Those are pretty good costumes.
Oh, my.
There are only a few people in here not in red.
Fumbled the snap and now picks it up and throws the ball and throws it completely. Martinez has Kenny right there, who last week really lit it up with 3 touchdowns, and they have become favorites, and that's good for 12 yards on a play that everybody may have relaxed just a little bit because of the fumbled snap.
Last week, Brandon Kenny, a guy who came in last year from junior college, started coming on midway through the season, and Sean Watson knew they were going to start getting some productivity out of him.
Ebner comes up to make the stop on Helu. And you see Missouri very quickly making defensive changes because the Huskers have already shown in just the one play that they ran, and now they are taking their time and back in the huddle. But our understanding is they're going to try to make it pell-mell today, make it move.
Yeah, Nebraska's been working on a hurry-up offense. Their quarterback finally feels comfortable in it. I'm sure we're going to see more of it than we did last week against Oklahoma State.
And a throw, got Helu. Nope. That is Niles Paul who makes the catch. Niles had a rough day here against the Texas Longhorns, and they said last week went to Stillwater with a real mad on it. And what did he have? 9 catches in the ball.
It was a career high. Zone coverage, gets to the middle, ball thrown on time. Nice job by Niles Paul right as the safety Jasper Simmons got there. And that's the one thing, Paul, he's not a real natural catcher of the ball. Good catch there, though.
Martinez going to keep it, and he is going to be forced out of bounds. Maybe a gain of 1, and that's it. More impact players in this ball game this afternoon.
Well, for Nebraska, Kyler Reed, we talked about Brandon Kenny coming on. Kyler Reed, a guy who's starting to step up his game. Talking to the Missouri defenders, they couldn't believe how fast he is for a tight end. And Alden Smith, who came back from a broken leg last week against Oklahoma, had a huge interception. Met with him yesterday. He is a big, powerful athlete.
Takes it to Helu, and Martinez keeps it. So Helu led him as the blocker, and it was Gooden who was there to make the tackle.
And Missouri is the best team in the country in the red zone. Once you get to the 20-yard line and in, they crank up their blitz. That's what red zone means. Watch out for the blitz. From the 20 in, Missouri blitzes about 75% of the time. You get inside the 10, it's up to 90%. They are sensational when you put their backs up against the wall.
Martinez, heavy pressure inside, and he takes it back outside, and that is really good defense by Gooden. He stayed at home and would not allow him to get the outside and turn the corner.
And Dave Steckel, the second-year defensive coordinator last year, kept things very simple. Had a very young team. Got almost everybody back, all juniors and seniors in his secondary. He's gotten way more complex in his second year.
Well, this means it is Henry time. Ball is going to be placed down at the 31, so a 41-yard attempt. Crowd loves him, and they should. He just keeps making them. Doesn't matter what the distance is. 10-0, Nebraska on top. Ten to nothing, our new score. And something to get you to keep an eye on this afternoon. Henry, we talked about, he is so prolific as a kicker, and he'll leave here as the best in Nebraska history, maybe the best in college football. But Kunalik is the man who kicks off. Now, let me give you a number on him. 277 kickoffs, 109 touchbacks. That is at 40%, which all coaches would absolutely love to have. He's already got 2 here this afternoon. And make it 3. This one's going to go 9 yards deep. Robert Flores in New York City. Let's visit with you for the first time this afternoon, young fella.
Thanks, Ron. You keep watching your game. I'm watching others all across the country. Starting with this Taco Bell studio update. Undefeated Michigan State visiting Iowa. They haven't won in Iowa City since 1989, and the Hawkeyes go 80 yards on their opening drive. Ricky Stanzi to Colin Sanderman. 7-0 Iowa. Ron.
Robert, thanks so much. We'll look forward to hearing from you this afternoon. Gabbard got a man wide open, hits him at the 35 in full stride, and there is a positive gainer. TJ Moe is the man who made the catch, and he didn't catch it standing still. He was motoring.
Moe was a quarterback in high school. As a matter of fact, Gary Pinkel, as a Nebraska Cornhusker.
It's Dennard. I'm almost sure who is who is down.
Yeah, Dennard is a guy that, Prince Umukamara gets all of the publicity at corner, but this is a guy that the coaches say has just as bright an NFL future. Really came on strong midway through the season. Nice job there trying to pop it out. And, that's Osborne, a safety who's getting his first time, comes in to make a hit and ends up going helmet to helmet on Dennard. And that's the danger. You see that all the time on defense where guys are coming in to clean up a tackle, and they end up sometimes hitting their own guy harder than the offensive player.
Well, a player also that the coaches say just a year ago really started to come into his own. And as the expression was used by that gentleman right there, Bo Pelini, he said, he really found himself. And it was easy to see that he was going to be a top 10 type of guy as far as the draft.
Yeah. And Justin Blackman last week against Oklahoma State was going mostly against Umukamara and had some big plays in that first half and a lot of good underthrows where Umukamara was in position, but Blackman just made a play on the ball. But Dennard was on the sideline saying, give me a shot. I want to go out there. And this secondary in the second half played so much better than they did in the first half, really locked things down against Oklahoma State.
So the Missouri Tigers with their initial first down of the afternoon. And in fact, the first positive yardage, as we had mentioned earlier. They were at -1 after their first 6 snaps. That ball in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Jackson. Geraldo Jr. out of Lamarck, Texas. He's looking back at a little bit of a high sun right now, and that might not have helped his situation.
He's a guy who broke his wrist earlier in the year, had to wear a cast, had a huge game last week against Oklahoma, had the go-ahead touchdown, but that was a fastball by his quarterback. I think quarterback's pretty amped up right now.
Kendall Lawrence into the backfield for the Tigers, number 4. And he is one of 4 tailbacks that we will see today. Moore, Lawrence, Josie, and also Murphy. And he'll get it on the draw. And very short yardage. As I'll tell you, in the middle of that line, that's Osborne who was there this time to make the tackle. Everybody playing really good gap, stay-at-home kind of defense.
And one of the things, talking to Carl Pelini yesterday, that they worked on through the spring and the fall camp, getting ready for this specific game, is the 3-man line. And the reason they do that is because of the pullers. They want bodies to come up and meet those pullers. They want more guys on 2 feet attacking it. Worked perfectly that time.
3rd down. Line to make is just across midfield. 10-0. Huskers lead it. Pressure off the corner. Gabbard gets away. No, he does not. He got him by the ankle. That is Levante David, who got a hand out and tripped him up just enough. And Gabbard couldn't maintain his balance. He goes down at the 32-yard line.
David coming off the edge. A junior college transfer that got here in August. And they've been working with him to get him to understand the scheme, but great speed, great instincts. They said, we'll take a few of those bad plays for all of the good ones he's making, leading tackler on this team.
This is the 3rd punt by the Missouri Tigers. Here's the kick, and it goes to Burkhead's side, and it's going to hit, and good coverage with the Tigers, so no return. And Nebraska will take it over just around their 23 or 24-yard line. So right now, let's take a look back at our Chick-fil-A drive recap.
Well, you always like these one-play drives, don't you? First play from scrimmage for Nebraska. And when we were talking to the coaches and players from Missouri, as we showed earlier, they're one of the best red zone defense in the country. They said the problem was there's not a lot of plays inside the 20 for Nebraska because they almost score from further away.
Martinez holds on to it, throws it to Cotton. At the tight end, 40, 45, and he's out to the 46-yard line. Carl Geddes defensively, the senior out of O'Fallon, Missouri, comes over to make the tackle, but that's a gain of 22 yards.
Well, Bo Pelini had told us last week, going back to Oklahoma State week, the concern about playing at home and being a little tight, and they changed things up. And Carl was telling us that Bo was more playful with the players this week, joking, trying to keep them loose, and early on it looks like it's paying off.
Martinez, play action, kept it himself. It's going to be a gain of 8. How about this, Ed? The co-players of the week last week in the conference.
And I don't know, that's the right thing to do. With the games that they played, Martinez by far his best game. First player in the history of this program to be over 300 passing, 100 rushing. And then Gabbert, who was 8 of 9 in that fourth quarter when the game was on the line against number 1 Oklahoma. I think that was the fair thing to do. Split it down the middle.
Martinez looks right over the middle, throws it complete for the first down. That's Burkhead. Rex, a sophomore out of Plano East High School, just outside of Dallas. And again, Gooden made the tackle. Gooden has been a very busy man in this opening quarter. We know of unofficially 3 tackles that he has made, and that's what they're showing officially, 3 tackles.
He also made a big play last week for Oklahoma, did Gooden, with that interception in the fourth quarter that set up a go-ahead field goal.
So a new set of downs for the Cornhuskers. They scrimmage from the Tiger 41-yard line.
Under further review.
Randy Crystal, our referee today. Now, the interesting thing is that the play is under review. Randy Crystal and his 6 compadres on the field are the ones who get the groans and the boos. They're not the ones calling for the replay. It's the gentlemen upstairs, the replay officials. They get buzzed, and so they stop the play.
Well, the only thing I can think they're reviewing is it a catch, which, yes, that's a catch. But also the spot. You can review the spot. It looked like he was about on the 42, 41 and a half yard line. So that's the only thing I can think is maybe they were reviewing the spot.
So I think that they have to confirm, or did confirm that, the calling on the field, the ruling on the field was upheld. Martinez, I'll tell you, Missouri doing a really nice job when he tries to get it outside. The closest he came to breaking one was the one he cut back on in the middle on the play fake.
When we were looking at the coach's film yesterday of that Oklahoma win for Missouri, the one thing we both noticed is how good Missouri is tackling fast players in space. They held DeMarco Murray to a season-low 49 rushing yards last year, and they've stretched out Martinez a couple of times nicely.
Yeah, last week. Yeah, that is a low number for him. Martinez, play action, going to go on top. Got a man out there at the 10, at the 5, Kyler Reed. Last week, he torched Oklahoma State. He brought it with him this week. With the extra point attempt. Got it. And I'll tell you, there are some shocked people in the state of Missouri right now, and also right here in the stadium. And maybe even some shocked people wearing red.
I think you're
17-0. The Huskers on top, and we still have 5:17 to play opening quarter.
Well, if you're Missouri, you saw this play last week. This is just a post by Reed. Exact same route he ran for a touchdown last week. He even got bumped at the line of scrimmage. The safety's there. A wonderful move by Reed. He faked to the outside, cut back to the inside, spun the defender completely around. And this is a guy that Sean Watson told us last week we expect him to continue to grow. We saw in the spring, we saw in fall camp how explosive he is. And not only is he fast, he's in that 4.5 range, but he's very good in and out of his breaks, and you saw it there. Fake to his left, planted his foot, came back to the right. And what a start for Martinez. 5 for 5, 101 yards and a touchdown.
Last night, one of the gentlemen that we visited with for the Tigers is Kevin Rutland. And we'll tell you what he said about Reed is another touchback. It's now 4 touchbacks on kickoffs for Kunalik. Football on ABC continues tonight with the Pac-10 showdown as the second-ranked Oregon Ducks take on the rival USC Trojans. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. And some of the nation will see Ohio State take on Minnesota. On first down, Gabbard looking. Ball is tipped and almost picked off. And that was Gomes who made the move, cutting in front of the receiver.
We met with Gomes yesterday, and he said it was a really tough week of practice because of all the things that the coaches had to show us. That time, read the slant route perfectly, jumped it. I think that's part of the simplified package for Nebraska today.
Henry Josie comes into the lineup, number 41. And he will get the handoff. And he is a true freshman who has outstanding speed. Cameron Meredith saved what might have been a very large gainer on the play. But he was there to reach a hand out, and number 34 made the tackle and stopped him. It'll be third down. Third down and 9. Excuse me.
Unbelievable start for Missouri. I would look for a wide receiver screen here. The pass rush has been just ferocious for Nebraska early on.
Gabbard so far 1 of 6. Just has to throw it away. Now here come flags down.
I think they're going to get defensive holding on Levante David, who's working the middle of the field.
Defense, number 4. Be a 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's the first flag that this officiating crew has thrown at the 4:30 mark of the opening quarter.
And Gabbard looks shaken a little bit. On that one, it was a 3-man rush. He had plenty of time. He took his eyes off the downfield and started looking at a rush that was not there. A guy who committed to Nebraska, decommitted. I think he might be feeling a little bit of pressure right now. And, of course, the way Nebraska's playing defense will do that as well.
Timeout. Nebraska.
Nebraska calls a timeout. It's a short one. We'll take it. And now let's take a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Discover.
Well, if you notice all the ats over there to the right, Auburn at Ole Miss, Oregon at USC, Michigan State at Iowa, and of course Missouri at Nebraska, and TCU at Air Force. That's why it is Roadblock Saturday for those teams in the top 10.
Gabbard on first down, throws the middle screen, and that's Egnew. And Egnew will take it to around the 40-yard line. Here was a young man, you talk about coming into your own. Well, he was a wide receiver in high school, a long jumper of 25 feet, which is really exceptional. And a tight end or slot, very good blocker, but he's also their leading receiver right now.
And he's a guy, David Yost, their offensive coordinator, said just the light bulb came on in the spring and fall. Took over the wide receiver tight end position and became the vocal leader, 5th in the country in receptions.
Missouri keeps it on the ground. It's Josie, and he's going to lose a yard on the play. Nebraska has been virtually impossible so far of running the football on. Jared Crick is the man at the bottom of the stack.
David Yost, who took over last year as the offensive coordinator when Dave Christensen left to be the head coach at Wyoming. Starting to get that running game going a little bit. Derek Washington, who was thrown off the team before the first game, now it's by committee, but they did get it going, almost 180 yards against Oklahoma last week.
Gabbard's pass, a little too tall, incomplete. And that will bring up another punting situation for the Missouri Tigers. Their fourth punt in this opening quarter. 3:05 left to play in the first. 17-0, Huskers on top. Burkhead is the lone deep man for the Huskers. Here's the boot. Let's check down on the sideline. Janine Edwards, what do you have for us?
Well, Ron, after the Missouri defense enjoyed their first, I wouldn't say lengthy break, but they've had some time to sit down, and Dave Steckel, the coordinator, has been telling them, guys, it's all about fundamentals. He said, remember your focus. He goes, that first guy has got to wrap up. I want everybody else rushing the ball. And Steckel has sort of an analogy for his defense. He calls it the fist. If the fingers are spread out, they're not as powerful, but when they're close together, they have a lot of power, and he wants to see more of that right now.
Well, they pull the guards, running play to the right, and here we go again. Hello down the sideline, and he's going to have another distance job. Let's make this one 73 yards. Ricky Henry with the key block.
Guard, Henry, and the center, Caputo, both pull. Good wash down, excellent block by both Henry and Caputo. Career-long 73-yard touchdown for Helou.
Henry with the extra point attempt, perfect again. New score, Huskers 24-0. We are back at a good look at Roy Helou Jr. If you joined us late, that's a 73-yard run, which is a career best for him. .66 yards on his first touchdown run this afternoon. Here comes the kick. And this is the 5th touchback by Kunalik. Kicking the ball off for the Huskers.
Well, Nebraska has come out in 2 tight end formations a bunch in this first half. This time, Cotton and Reed took the defensive end, Jacques Smith, and just shoved him across the entire formation. And then when Caputo and Henry were pulling, it was a gigantic hole. And Helou showing a gear that, frankly, I don't think a lot of people around this league knew about.
Gabbard going to take it straight ahead. Has 15, has 20, has 25. And Blaine is going to be pushed out of bounds. A late flag at the 49. That's Osborne, who will get credit for shoving him out of bounds. That's 42 yards on the run. But they've got him spotted out down at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, still will be. Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 8. 15-yard penalty.
Wow.
It's Wes Kemp, who was downfield blocking. I believe he was on Ciante Evans, who is in there because of the injury to Alfonso Dennard. Very top of your screen. Kemp reaches out, grabs the face mask. Correct call. Tough one for Missouri, though.
First down from the 33-yard line. Gabbard gets his pass away, and this one complete to the 43-yard line to T.J. Moe. And if you're wondering, you're saying, why is Blaine not throwing the football more? That's how well the Husker secondary has been covering the Missouri receivers, quite frankly.
Yep. every time he's had protection, it's been all covered. The other times you don't know because the protection broke down. It's been a perfect day so far for Nebraska defensively on the front and the back end.
Tackled for a 5-yard loss. That's Terrence Moore. Second time that he has been sacked in this football game.
Right in the middle, Moore, a backup in there for Steinkuhler and Crick. And that was just the right guard, Webbles just did not get down. And Webbles, a guy that the Missouri coaches have been working on. He's got a lot of ability, but sometimes his technique is lacking. He did not get down quick enough on Moore.
Second down, they need to take it down to the 46-yard line. 24-0, Huskers lead. Sacked again, and now here comes a flag.
Yeah, they're going to get Crick for targeting on Gabbert.
Contact above the shoulders with the helmet, number 34.
Check that. That was Meredith. And Gabbert got up slowly from this. A line stuck to the inside. And Randy Crystal makes the correct call. You've got to come down lower with your pads, especially when you're free running towards a quarterback.
Show with the penalty. It will take it down to the 46-yard line. Going to be the deepest penetration of the afternoon by the Tigers. Gabbert still looking. He's running for his life. There is red everywhere he looks. His guys are trying their backsides off to see that they can help their quarterback, but Pierre Allen and Levante David, you get by one and then there's the other, and it's they are putting on relentless pressure. The black shirt defense for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Well, every time, even with only a 3-man rush, they're doing a great job of getting to the edge of the offensive line, meaning they get to a side of the offensive lineman. They don't rush straight through them, and they're just getting great push up the field.
Missouri this time with those wide splits. Gabbert over the middle, and the ball thrown a little too far in front of Mo. It will stop the clock with 11 seconds left in this opening quarter.
And Gabbert has looked, it's been a tough day so far, not getting much protection. Of course, he took that hit there. He got up a little slowly after that hit from Meredith, but he has not looked like himself at all yet in this ballgame.
You can see Carl Pelini, the defensive coordinator, making the signals to his defensive unit. This time a 4-man rush on third down. Gabbert steps up, throws the ball. It got single coverage, and it is intercepted, and that's Gomes. Gomes with the interception around the 15-yard line, and he's still returning. It takes it back to the 32. So our score at the end of the first quarter is Nebraska 24 and Missouri nothing. Lou sets the tone in that opening quarter. Levante Davis sets the tone on defense. We'll be right back.
Happy Halloween from the Missouri Tigers!
Well, our thanks to the men and women cheerleaders of the Missouri Tigers. At the first play of the second quarter, and Helu is only going to have about 7 yards.
Well, and going back to the last play of that first quarter, Dejon Gomes did such a wonderful job of finding that ball. How many times last week did we see when Oklahoma State underthrew a deep ball that their Umakamara did not turn and make a play? That time Gomes read it the whole way. I promise you that was something that was a point of emphasis this week. When that ball's in the air, you've got to find it.
Second down, Pressure coming, pass thrown too far. That one almost picked off. Ed, there's no question we both thought coming into this football game that Nebraska is a very good football team. Good heavens, they let it all go in that first quarter. Bo needs to bottle and save whatever they did before this one.
Yeah, they went to the hotel a little earlier, got the guys off their feet. Their whole idea was, let's make it feel like an away game. They were joking
that play loose.
Yeah, and they were joking about maybe driving out of town and then driving back into town. But whatever they did, it's certainly working. This team looks very loose.
Martinez, boy, does he get whacked down hard by Michael Sam, the redshirt freshman out of Hitchcock, Texas.
Well, and this is a defensive line stunt where the tackle and the defensive end switch positions. This is something that Sean Watson was saying Missouri does a lot, and Martinez looks a little banged up after that hit.
Henry with the kick. This is an end over end. Got to be gathered in at the 32 by Geddes. Geddes runs into a special teamer for the Cornhuskers and around the 47-yard line.
Well, a lot of times you'll see when a guy goes down and he's holding on to that ball. Remember Sam Bradford last year against BYU. Right. You land on that elbow, it jams up into your shoulder. But it looked like he landed awkwardly because Sam wrapped his arms up and wouldn't let him break his fall.
Gabbert throws the ball quickly, complete just across midfield. That's Jackson. Robert Flores in New York City. What do you have for us?
All right, Ron, another studio update brought to you by New York Life. Check this play out. Kirk Cousins intercepted by Tyler Sash. Laterals to Micah Hyde. He gets some great blocking downfield, ultimately scores. Michigan State came from 17 down last week to win. They're going to have to do it again this week if they're going to do the same.
Okay, Robert. A little backwards pass action in that one. In this ball game, pass thrown complete. That's a nice grab by Egnew, reaching very high, and I think they're going to have the first down. They're going to spot the ball at around the 42 of Nebraska.
Well, and Taylor Martinez continues. Now they're working on that. If that's all it is, it looks like they're just working on maybe a little turf burn on that left knee. That's awfully good news for Nebraska.
It is a first down, so they move the sticks, and the ball just outside the 42 of Nebraska. Gabbard looking, gets it away quickly, throws it complete, and that is very close to another first down. TJ Moe this time.
Moe, a guy who's a really interesting athlete. We're talking about how he was a quarterback in high school. Gary Pinkel thought maybe they'd play him at safety. You know, when you go to the NFL Combine, they put 225 pounds on the bench press and see how many times you can do it. He can do it 24 times, something that they do in their weight room, which is good for an offensive lineman.
Let alone a 200-pound receiver. Yeah. Gabbard on second and very short. Look to the sideline, going long, and maybe just a tad too strong on the throw because even though double coverage, the receiver was breaking clear. That's Jackson. Well, those are first quarter stats.
Just they have been behind the sticks. How many 3rd and 10 or mores has Missouri had?
256 yards. I think you know who's going to get my high-profile player of the first half. In tight formation, and now a timeout has been called by Nebraska, so we'll take the break. 11:57 till halftime, 24-0 Huskers. So we're back. Of course, Taylor Martinez, the quarterback, on the right, and Roy Helu Jr. on the left. Roy just with simply incredible opening quarter. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment. Right now, 3rd and short, and Gabbard will take it straight ahead And we got a flag from the referee and also one from the side judge.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, third down.
It's Justin Britt who came in. They weren't run kind of a reverse wishbone there where they put 2 offensive linemen. A big 4th down conversion for them against Oklahoma last week in the 4th quarter in that exact formation, but Britt flinched before the snap.
So 3rd down and now 5.5. Still got to take it to the 32.5-yard line of Nebraska. Agnew in motion. Gabbard gets it away, and that's Agnew who makes the catch. And let's see, I think he's just a little bit short, Ed, from my angle. You may be closer. They're moving in your direction.
Yeah, I believe it's short, and they have to go for it here. You're down 24-0. You don't have a choice. Here come the bigger bodies. So they're going to put those linemen behind the linemen, the 2 offensive linemen behind the guards, between the guard and tackle, and just run straight ahead. I would expect a quarterback sneak.
Timeout just called by Nebraska. So we'll take a break. 24-0. Huskers on top.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Chevrolet. Rogue Skyline. On November 12th, our first encounter will be our last stand. And Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Folks, did you know this? Halloween legend has it that the jack-o'-lantern custom comes from the 18th century Irish folklore. The Irish originally used turnips, but when they came to America, of course, pumpkins were more plentiful. Here we go. 4th down. 4th down and just inches for the Tigers. Devin Moore is the setback behind quarterback Blaine Gabbert. And Gabbert will pitch it back to him, and he'll turn the corner. 20, at the 10, at the 5, touchdown. I really wouldn't call it trickeration, but it was something that Nebraska was not looking for when they pitched it. And the speedy Mr. Moore took it down the sideline for a touchdown.
Well, the one thing that David Yost, the offensive coordinator, does a wonderful job of is he shows a formation, then he does something different. Last week it was all straight ahead, quarterback sneak. This time they pull Britt, who gets a wonderful block on David for the touchdown.
Extra point by Russell is up, and it is good. And with 11:27 left until halftime, we have got the Tigers on the scoreboard, 24-7 now.
Yeah, and back and forth with the chess match, because the last 2 times that Missouri went into that formation on this drive, Nebraska used a timeout to talk about it. Well, you don't see this play from last week. If you look at the tape, everything was just straight ahead. But now they take Britt to the outside, just a wonderful play, and he gets a great block, and then Whaley is late, Alonzo Whaley, the other linebacker, and a wonderful block downfield by Jarrell Jackson on the cornerback to that side of Mukamara. That's what sprung it.
Also Justin Britt. I believe you mentioned his name.
And made up for flinching on that third down before.
Here's Barrow's kick. High end of a end. This spinner is returnable from the 5. This is Niles Paul. At a 100-yarder last week. And that's the reason by the buzz in the crowd. They thought, hey, let's just do it again, Niles. Takes it back out to the 45-yard line. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
Well, it's all been about Roy Helu Jr. That was a 66-yarder to the left. And just to prove he's pretty good to his right, he goes 73 yards to his right, which was a career high.
Isn't that amazing? 148 yards on 4 carries in 1 quarter. Martinez will keep it. Nothing to the right. Let's go back to the left. Tries to get a pickup block, and Alden Smith would not be fooled. That is a nice defensive play. Jacques Smith is the man who was out there pursuing on the other side.
And Alden Smith, a guy who came back from a broken leg. We were watching the film yesterday. He's so good. He's got long arms. He's got big hands. He's very active. And he said with that broken leg, it actually made him work on his hands even more. And I'll tell you, a guy with long arms who really knows how to use his hand is a nightmare for an offensive tackle.
And a former tight end. We talked about that.
Yeah, he had the interception. He was very quick to point out that he was recruited as a tight end.
Martinez going long, and this one almost picked off.
Well, and if I'm Missouri, I would be very upset because great position that time on defense.
That's Rutland.
By Rutland, and Gilliland ran right up his back, and I think Missouri rightfully wanted an offensive pass interference. Otherwise, if Gilliland doesn't run through Rutland, who has great position, that's an interception. I think that should have been offensive pass interference on Nebraska.
Kevin Rutland, a very quiet young man. But you listen when he speaks. Interesting to visit with him yesterday. Talking about how this defense has come along. Pressure on Martinez. He's pointing. And he got by one. Going to get by another. And now he's going to bring it back to the near sideline. And is pushed out of bounds at the 35.
What wonderful pursuit by Missouri. Every time Martinez thinks he's going to get a corner, he's not able to. And a wonderful stop for them defensively. You put your offense back out, if they're able to go down and to score, all of a sudden, this becomes a 10-point ball game. And Gabbert looked much more comfortable. Watch the speed. And Missouri doing a great job reading Martinez. Good coverage downfield. He had no one to go to.
Henry stands back to punt. Wobbly spiral, but got some distance on it. From the 25 is Geddes. Tries to cut it back into the middle at the 40-yard line, and that will be the end of the ways. Take a timeout. Huskers 24, Tigers 7. And now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. When was the last time Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln was not sold out? We'll be back with the answer shortly. Josie back in the ball game at tailback, number 41. Gabbert fakes it to him, and he'll hold on to it for a gain of 3. Janine, let's check in with you. Alfonso Denard went out of the ballgame, and he's still out. Is he okay?
Yeah, Ron, actually, no. He has suffered a concussion. They took him to the locker room right after that hit earlier in the game, and he has not returned to the sideline at all. He's still in the locker room. He is done for the game, so that's a solid defensive back Nebraska's lost for this one.
Okay, boy, that is it. That's a huge loss for them. Gabbert throws it complete. Very quickly defensive play. Wes Kemp coming up over the top to make the tackle. They're short of the first down. It'll be third down. Still going to make it to the 49 across midfield.
And Missouri doesn't attack downfield as much as Oklahoma State did last week, but would not be surprised if Missouri goes after Ciante Evans, who's going to be on the top of your screen, who is replacing Bennett.
Gabbert finally gets away, throws it away, and it is fourth down Missouri. Well, this time Jared Crick again coming with a lot of pressure on the quarterback Blaine Gabbert.
Crick, a guy who was the Big 12 preseason Defensive Player of the Year. Of course, his name last year jumped off the page when he had 5 sacks against Baylor. More of a speed player. He plays inside, about 285 pounds. But a great compliment to Ndamukong Suh last year.
Well, he really was. I'm afraid this year he's finding a lot more double teams than he got last year, because they were aiming those double teams toward Ndamukong last year. Well, as we go to break, just take a look at the 2 boxes on the right, and the reason that Blaine Gabbert could not have a chance on this third down pass play. Huskers 24-7. We'll be right back. Well, the first 4 drives, 256 yards and 24 punts. The last 2 drives, 12 yards. Now here comes a flag in and thrown by the umpire, and you know what that means.
Looked like there might have been an illegal chop in the middle of the offensive line. Whenever you see guys blocking high and then someone coming low, that's what it looked like, to me at least, at the snap.
Yeah, there are. There are 2 flags, one at the line of scrimmage and one out of the secondary. And the fact the officials are trying to get Missouri to move back a little bit so that they can decide on exactly what the 2 calls would mean. Randy Crystal.
Personal foul, chop block, number 74. Illegal block, number 25. That penalty be declined. We'll enforce the chop block half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, and they get Kyler Reed for coming back towards the ball. You can't be within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage and come back towards the ball if you're an eligible receiver and block below the waist. But it was in the middle of that line. Ricky Henry, as Caputo, the center, pulled, he didn't know that a block was coming back and went to cut the nose guard while he was engaged with another offensive lineman.
And exactly what Ed means by being engaged. If another player's on him, that means he's engaged. So you can't have a high-low situation. I know we used to see that a lot in yesteryear, but not anymore.
And a lot of times that is just an error. You're not quite sure where someone's coming from. And it used to be that it had to start high and end low, but now they just cleaned it up. They said if anybody's on the upper body, no matter when it happens, no one can go towards the legs, and it doesn't matter which one happens first.
So a new first down, and you see they scrimmage from their own 8-yard line. Martinez, quarterback draw, nothing. Gooden is the man who's right there to make the tackle. And now here's the answer to today's Aflac trivia question. When was the last time Memorial Stadium was not sold out? Folks, almost 5 decades ago, 48 years ago, on October the 20th, 1962, Kansas State was the team in town.
Well, and Notre Dame second on that. They are 90 behind that record here at Nebraska.
Martinez keeps. I'll tell you, he got handled pretty roughly. Give you more on today's attendance in a moment. Right now, let's hear from Robert Flores in New York City. Robert?
All right, Ron, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, presented by Sprint. Aaron Murray hooks up with Tavares King, and Georgia was able to pull even with Florida at 7, but Jeffrey Dempsey has just gone in for a score, 14-7. And Brett Favre tells ESPN's Ed Werder he expects to start tomorrow against the Patriots despite his ankle injury. Ron, Ed.
Okay, Robert, thank you. Our situation, third down, very long for the Huskers. Pressure coming off the wings, and Martinez running for his life. Throws the ball. This is Helou. And I'll tell you, Helou with the second effort, I believe, well, he's close. He is very close to picking up the first down.
Nice job by Taylor Martinez, knowing where his check down was. And this is where you start to see the growth. Well, they didn't give him the spot. You know, from up here, it sure looked like Helou was over the 25-yard line. It still may have been short, but that spot looked like it was to the advantage of Missouri.
So it's punting time as Henry will stand back and get the snap. This is the third first-half punt for the Huskers. Here's the boot. Bearcats signal for and made at the 39-yard line. There's a new number 1 in the nation, and for the 4th straight week, they got to go on the road for a tough conference contest as Heisman frontrunner Cam Newton leads the Auburn Tigers against Jeremiah Masoli and Ole Miss. College football primetime on ESPN2 tonight, 6 Eastern. The game is also available online and on your phone. Look at all the people with the ants up there.
And Auburn better be careful. Ole Miss playing a whole lot better than they did. Masoli has been lights out, over 400 yards of total offense last week.
Gabbard over the middle, the ball tipped, and then after it had been tipped, almost intercepted by Austin Cassidy.
And Cassidy, a man who's been getting more time in the secondary here today, and talking to Carl Pelini about his defense. He said Cassidy and another guy, Courtney Osborne, were going to get more playing time on first and second down at safety. They've had problems tackling in space. How many times did Kendall Hunter break tackles last week on his way to 201 yards rushing? They're trying to get that cleaned up.
And Bo had said the week before against Texas, 28 missed first hit tackles. Gabbard 8 of 19, 1 interception, and the running play, this is more and more, is going to pick up the first down.
You know, if you go back to the beginning of this season, everyone expected Derek Washington to be the starter. Of course, he was thrown off the team for off-the-field problems, and they weren't sure what they were going to have coming back. But Devin Moore, T.J. Moe, the two freshmen, Josie and Murphy, have really stood up and helped this run game develop as the season has gone on.
Well, they were worried about running back, and now they've got 4, and they use all 4 of them. Gabbard, good protection, but I'll tell you, that defense is covering him. He is going to scramble for it and have big yardage. At the 40, runs out of bounds very wisely, but Levante David is the man who finally forced him out. That's a nice job by Blaine Gabbard. Now, you get the feeling as though the pace is not quite as frenetic as what Nebraska was creating earlier, and that that Missouri offensively is beginning to feel it, and absolutely slow down a little bit.
And with a score here, you're only down 10, and this is a team that is used to coming back and being in tough situations. I mean, Derek Washington, starter captain, gets thrown off the team 2 days before the first game. They're used to having to deal with these types of things.
Kendall Lawrence puts a shoulder down, and all 5'9", 190 pounds of him takes it for the first down. A sophomore out of Rockwall, Texas.
And yesterday when we met with Tim Barnes, the center, he talked about exactly that. He said, you know, we have been through so much. Last year there was a 3-game losing streak when our quarterback got hurt, our captain got thrown off. These guys have been in tough positions, and right now they feel like they're getting a little momentum back in this game.
First down from the 35. Got his pass right over the middle. Incomplete at the 32-yard line. Gomes with the coverage. Well, it's TV's #1 comedy, and the one family everyone feels a part of. This all-new Modern Family has a moment so outrageously funny that you'll want to be the first to see it. Modern Family, all new, Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central on ABC.
You know, one thing we have not seen is the so-called bubble screen, the wide receiver screen. You got 3 receivers over here to the right. Maybe this will be the first time.
They ran one time.
Pardon.
Back in the first quarter. And it was not overly successful. Gabbard, far sideline, got single coverage, and the ball, boy, the receiver had a step, just a half step, but the ball was just a little too long. That's Jarrell Jackson that he was trying to get the football to.
And they tried to set this up earlier. Remember, Alfonso Dennard, NFL prospect cornerback, is out with a concussion, and they've been looking to try to go after Keontae Evans, and that time Gabbard's going to be upset with himself. But now you've got the 3rd down. I got to think you pick up 6 or 7, and they may go for it on 4th down.
Gabbard has missed his last 4 passes. He's got a 3rd down and 10. Here comes pressure this time. Going to go long, same area, in and out of the hands of the receiver. This time it is Rolandus Woodland.
Well, and Eric Haig gets away with one a little bit here. Watch right at the end of the play. Haig sticks out his left arm. He knows he's beat, and he just impeded the progress enough so that Woodland couldn't get his second hand on. A great play by Haig. If you're beat, go out and reach out. But that one I think they should have thrown a flag on because he impeded the progress of a wide-open receiver.
And now you can see the head coach. Gary says, let's call a timeout. Gary Pinkel wants to talk with his ball club as they appear to be going for the 4th down and 10. The scores today in the Big 12 Conference, this is how they shape up. Oklahoma State did not score a point in the first half and came back and won at 24-14. Iowa State finally pulled away from KU 28-16. A&M leading Texas Tech in the second quarter. Baylor, Texas, 6 o'clock Central Time start in Colorado, Oklahoma. That one is, wow, that's a late start for the guys up there in Soonerland. 8:15 to kickoff time Central. It's on ESPN2.
It looked like they were thinking about going for it, but now you're looking for a career-long field goal here.
Grant Russell will attempt a 54-yarder. Gets a low pass, gets the ball away, and it is just short. I mean, the low pass certainly did not help him because had to have thrown his timing off just a little bit.
Well, he got a good swing at it, and if there is a breeze in this building, it would have been at his back.
Yeah.
His career long, you know, that ball on the 35-yard line is right on the outside range, and I'm sure the reason that Gary Pinkel called it was because of that breeze, and he couldn't have missed it by more than half a yard. I mean, that thing
not too far.
Almost hit the crossbar.
And I've got one more score for you. In Iowa City, the Hawks 30, Michigan State 0.
Yeah, roadblock Saturday, right? Another undefeated on the road.
Burkhead, the ball carrier.
Burkhead carries for maybe a couple of yards.
Right now, Missouri's defense
pick up of 2 brings up 2nd down and 8. Ball at the
about as bad as you can play in the first quarter, about as good as you can play in the second quarter. But they don't get the field goal, and if Nebraska can get something going here to finish up this half, boy, that'd be a tough way to go in at halftime.
Martinez going to keep it. Finally got the corner. Pushed out of bounds, but he got the corner. That's the first time really this afternoon that he's been able to accomplish that. And just like that, he picks up 15 yards.
Yeah, and Jacquez Smith, it's such a tiny thing. But on this zone read, if you're the defensive end, you literally just have to sit still. He actually squeezes down inside 2 or 3 feet. And because he goes down inside, Martinez is able to keep it. That defensive end, literally just stand there. Don't move when you're unblocked.
Keeps it this time. Brings it back to the near side, and there is one of those good open field tackles that we told you about from the Missouri Tigers. That's Jackson who made the hit. Kenja Jackson, sophomore out of Mansfield, Texas. And Martinez limping just a little bit, favoring that right leg.
Boy, he is. And that was a low tackle by Jackson right on that right thigh. And, you know, those thigh pads, they don't cover the side of your leg. They mostly cover the front. And if you take a helmet on the side, that's very painful.
Hello, Charlie. Straight ahead, Burkhead. Second effort, going to have a couple of yards, and that's it.
Well, he is. And I've had a deep thigh bruise. I had a running back one time when I was in the NFL, hit the outside of my thigh full speed. And those thigh pads, you know, guys don't like to wear very big ones. And that's exactly what happened. The thigh pad almost always just protects right on the front, and Jackson got on the side there. And that is something, if it's a deep thigh bruise, that can really start to affect you. And you may see Green or Zach Lee have to come in this game.
Third down. They need to take it to the 40. And the pass is tipped. And I believe it's middle linebacker Will Ebner who got a hand on it.
Ebner had no idea that ball, he had coverage on Helou. And Martinez is not looking good. And a bruise like that just will continue to get worse. It's not going to get
You got to
better.
get ice on it immediately, or you could really have trouble.
Boy, would that change this game if Taylor Martinez is not able to go.
Here's the punt. Pooches it very, very high. Nebraska lined up a man inside the 5-yard line, and Henry has poked this one out of bounds at the 10.
Well, the best kicker in the history of Nebraska is also one of its best punters. He's the only guy in the country who's on the watch list for both the Lou Groza best kicker and the Ray Guy Award best punter. He is a what an absolute talent. It'll be interesting to see how high he goes in the NFL draft because he's automatic, he's got distance, he can punt.
The fans watch him warm up. It's true. They watch everything he does, and today he finished off. He tried a 62-yard field goal and made it with ease, and his place erupted. Gabbert's throw, got it right over the middle. That's complete to Jackson, and a pickup of 13 yards on the play.
As they continue to tend to Martinez, Missouri trying to get something going. 2 timeouts, minute 50. A veteran quarterback. It's pretty good for them.
Pass over the middle. This one is complete at the 36-yard line to Brandon Giroux.
Now, because there is no pressure, watch for Nebraska maybe to bring a blitz. You cannot let Gabbert stand in the pocket this long and pick you apart.
Gabbert over the middle. The ball is tipped. That's a nice defensive play. Amukamara got a hand on it. It was T.J. Moe that they were aiming to pass for.
Well, the 2 times before they go to the left where Alfonso Dennard is not because of his injury. That time they come on a crossing route to the right, and Amukamara has great position.
Keontae Evans, though, is getting a little trickery every time. This past time, they crossed the receivers over to try to confuse the new soul back there in the defensive secondary. Gabbert going to run to that side of the field, and he'll get out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line. 1:20 on the clock until halftime. And it was Jared Crick who was applying pressure.
That just doesn't look good. I've had that exact injury, a helmet to the thigh, and what happens is your leg gives out. A deep thigh bruise, as soon as you go to step on it, your leg just buckles. And that is looking like what may have happened to Taylor Martinez.
3rd down, got to take it out to the 46. Huskers lead it 24-7. Gabbert going to go single coverage, far side, just a little too long. T.J. Moe, the man who was the intended receiver.
Well, Gabbert is going to be upset with himself when he goes and looks at the film. That's 3 long throws that he's had open. One of them, Woodland got possibly interfered with, but that one just a touch overthrown. And you go back to last week and how effective Brandon Whedon was with that underthrow. I think that might be something that David Yost tells him, hey, if you've got somebody, don't be afraid to underthrow it. You might get a pass interference at the very least.
Here's Grabner's punt. And the punt is to Burkhead. He goes all the way back inside the 10-yard line and secures the ball and goes down at the 10. Well, all they need right now is just a couple of line shots and head to the locker room. Now let's go back and look at exactly what happened to Taylor Martinez. It's the first time when he got smacked today. And that is the last hit that he just took. And he took it on that thigh. And they continue to work on him. And in fact, I wouldn't, well, he's back out on the field. I started to say I wouldn't be surprised if they sent him to the locker room early.
Little surprised that they didn't. You know, I think this is one where you take a knee, you can run out this clock. I don't know why you get dangerous up 24-7.
This is Hello. I guess when you can turn the corner and either go 66 or 73 yards with this guy, which he did in the first half or in the first quarter. Jarrell Harrison finally shoved him out of bounds, and he ran into his head coach.
Well, and if that's what you're going to do, I understand, but you have a quarterback who's gimpy, and now you got away from the shadow of your own goalposts. But let's see if Martinez can move at all.
Well, gives it straight ahead, and this one's going to go for a 2-yard loss.
And with the explosive first quarter that Halou had, I guess they're just hoping he'll break one here. But it'll be an interesting halftime yet. You have to get those thigh pads out and examine that leg, but there's really nothing you can do. You know, those injuries, so much blood goes into that muscle. It is such a large muscle.
You know, we are going to find out in a hurry what they were able to do, if anything, at halftime, because in the second half it will be Nebraska receiving the kick as this handoff. For a moment, the crowd thought, here we go again. A big opener, and then it closed up as Jasper Simmons made the tackle. And they will head on to the locker room. (24-7), the Huskers on top as the two teams head toward their respective locker rooms. And let's check in with Janine down on the sideline.
Well, Gary, Nebraska came out in this game with guns blazing. Where's your biggest breakdown on defense right now?
Well, we've given up 3 big plays, 2 runs and a long pass. Nebraska's playing very well. Offensively, we're too many third and longs and hard to get out of them, so we got to play a lot better.
Now, you guys are outscoring your opponent 67-13 in your third quarter, so obviously your halftime talks are working. What do your guys most need to hear from you right now at half?
Well, we just got to play better football. We're making a lot of mistakes out there, and we just got to focus better and just take it series by series.
Thanks, Gary.
Again, our score at halftime: Nebraska 24 and the Missouri Tigers 7. Let's take a timeout.
Welcome to the Capital One Halftime Report. John Saunders alongside of Jesse Palmer and Roy Halou Jr. Big guy can really move, can't he, Jesse?
He had 148 yards on his first 4 carries and 2 touchdowns. That's why this team's averaging 6.6 yards per carry. Tops in the nation heading into today.
All right, you're Gary Pinkel. You're Missouri. You just knocked off the #1 team in the nation in Oklahoma. You're feeling really good about yourselves. We got to go on the road to Nebraska, and we throw up an egg.
This is the Nebraska defense I think we all expected to see after they got lit up for 495 yards last week in a win against Oklahoma State. They're doing a great job on the back end in coverage, and that's forced a couple of coverage sacks for quarterback Blaine Gabbert of Missouri. On the flip side, very impressed with freshman quarterback Taylor Martinez. He continues to get better throwing the football. Struggled a little bit early in the year against South Dakota State, struggled a lot against Texas, but in the last 2 games now, he's really developing, making this offense a lot more balanced and a lot tougher to defend.
He has a touchdown pass in the game as well. Second half still to come. Now, Missouri not the only unbeaten team that's falling.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football and Roadblock Saturday from Lincoln, Nebraska. Our score, the Huskers 24 and the Tigers 7. Well, the high-profile player of the first half, no surprise about this one. It actually happened in the first quarter. Roy Halou Jr., 7 rushes, 165 yards. Pretty good average, wouldn't you say, Ed?
And I think you could give him a full game ball at this point, Ron. Don't have to be stingy. But we watch Martinez walk out, and I will be shocked. Nebraska gets the ball first, and I would just be absolutely shocked if he is able to go, because it looked like he suffered a severe thigh bruise from that hip from Kenja Jackson. Came out, did run a series, but it was all handoffs to Lou, and I just don't see how Martinez is going to be able to move around like he normally does the way he was walking back onto the field.
Konalik prepares to kick it off. And let's see. No, this one is not going to be returnable either. Time now to take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Pacific Life.
Well, after racing out to a huge lead in that first quarter, things really started to turn. And for Missouri, they started moving the ball. Gabbert started looking more comfortable. Now, let's see if they go back to that long ball, because they missed 3 of those that they had open in the second quarter. If they hit one of those, they're only down 10. If they get a score here, this game will get interesting quickly when it looked like it was going to be a whitewash.
Tigers scrimmage from their own 20-yard line. Gabbert right over the middle. Gets the crossing route, good for 5 yards.
Just get yourself into a little bit of a rhythm. For the problem, the thing you have to overcome is it felt like you were getting blown out, but all of a sudden, you can get a score here. You're right back in it.
Gabbert faked it, runs, and then, boy, pays for it. That is a good, tough tackle by Gomes. So 24-7 our score, and talking with people at halftime, boy, they were in a state of shock in the first quarter. And then, as you said, Missouri kind of got it leveled off a little bit. Now it's up to them. We've got to get something offensively going.
Well, Nebraska won the toss and elected to kick off. So Missouri started the first half with the ball. They start the second half with the ball. And they got a little confidence back in that second quarter, the way they were able to move it.
Gabbert, nowhere to run. Going to be sacked by Crick. Jared Crick, and that is the third sack of the quarterback, Blaine Gabbert.
Crick lined up at defensive end, standing up. Good spin back to the inside, and well, as Gabbert goes up, and it looked like the right tackle, Hoke may have gotten his leg caught up underneath that pile, but a good spin back to the inside by Crick, and Elvis Fisher, the left tackle, just let off for half a second to give up the sack.
Gabbard zings it, has it complete at no. Now they say incomplete at the 38. Jarrell Jackson, the man that he wanted.
That was Courtney Osborne, one of the safeties who's getting a little more time for Bo Pelini and his defense, who got there right when the ball got there. A little bit of a low throw. And for Missouri, another third and long. You know, that's exactly what Gary Pinkel said to Janine on the way off. Just getting killed with these third and longs.
Playing behind the sticks is a difficult thing. They are 0 of 9 on third down conversions. Gabbert, you could see he wanted to throw. Now Recox has to bring it down again and just throws it away. Pierre Allen, relentless in his pursuit again.
Pierre Allen, a guy who did not play in the second half last week against Oklahoma State with a knee injury. Looks like he might be limping just a little bit after that play as well. Well, and the way Martinez is carrying himself, it looks like either Zach Lee or Cody Green will be the guy to go here in the second half.
7th punt of the afternoon by the Tigers. And the running kick is out of bounds just inside the 40. Let's check now with Janine. She's got more on Martinez.
Well, guys, I checked in with Bo Pelini coming out after half. He says Martinez is okay. He said he's okay. They tended to his right knee at halftime. He was in the training room for at least 10 minutes. But, guys, when he took to the field, when he walked by me, he was visibly limping and making a grimacing face. Guys, he is not feeling well at all.
Zach Lee trots out on the field, number 5, the senior out of San Francisco. So it would appear, at least to open this second half, that Lee will be the starting quarterback for this 30 minutes.
And the thing that this does for you, if you're Missouri defensively, is now you lose. Not that Zach Lee can't run with it, but he can't run with it like Taylor Martinez can. So Missouri now can start to focus more in on the passing game, Helu, Burkhead, and they don't have to worry as much about the zone read and the midline option that Martinez runs so well. So should get a little easier if you're Missouri.
Well, we'll see. Roy Helu is still in the back.
Good point.
Play action by Lee, and he's going to go on top and well overthrown and almost intercepted as two defenders semi-collide, and now there's a flag back just behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense. Number 58. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
And holding called against Mike Caputo, the fine center. Here's a profile on Zach Lee for those of you who don't know him. 6'2", 215 out of San Francisco.
And much more of a thrower, much more of a pure passer than Martinez, although Martinez has made great strides in the last 2 weeks in that part of his game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of Cody Green as well, who started 2 games last year, a little bit more of a run threat than Lee.
Second and 15. Lee steps up. Now throws the ball, and here comes another flag in. This one a little bit late from the linesman on this side of the field. Gatchkar was applying pressure.
Personal foul, chop block, number 10. That penalty is declined, 3rd down.
Well, this is the same thing we saw earlier where there was a guy engaged. This time it's Kyler Reed who is engaged with the rusher, and then Halou goes in low to make the cut block. Watch on the right side of your screen. There's Reed chasing Jacquez Smith. Pardon me, that's Gachkar. And Halou goes in for the cut block. Some confusion up there.
So 3rd down and 15. Lee, safety valve dropped. Kyler Reed could not hold on to the football. And now a few groans from the crowd because this opening quarter was just, whoa, devastatingly good. 24-0. The Huskers went on top. And all I can say, if you're a Missouri fan or to the Missouri Tigers, is, hey, folks, the door is open just a little bit. Now we'll see if anybody really wants to come in. I mean, the opportunity is affording itself. It's a booming spiral. Good heavens. All the way back inside the 10-yard line is Geddes. Geddes will turn it upfield. He'll finally be tackled at around the 21 to 22-yard line. 59 yards in the kick, 13 on the return. So we are back in Lincoln. We got 11:50 to play in the 3rd quarter. If you just joined us, Martinez, starting quarterback for the Huskers, a bum leg from a hit he took in the first half. And Zach Lee led the first drive. Here comes Josie for Missouri. And let's see if offensively the Tigers might be able to get something going. The sticking point has been not just a very, very good defensive effort by the Nebraska Cornhuskers this afternoon.
David Yost and his offense have had a shot. They've had a couple of different shots, but they've missed a couple of long balls. Just got to dial it in just a little bit.
Quick pass by Gabbert. That dropped Wes Kemp, the intended receiver.
And, you know, the way Nebraska plays defense, and, of course, Deontay Evans in there because Alfonso Dennard was injured in the first quarter, but they play man coverage, and this is the first time that Missouri has seen a lot of man coverage since San Diego State. And David Yost knew coming into this game that the windows from which Gabbert could throw from would be much smaller than they were against some other opponents.
3-man rush by the Huskers.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Palmgren is the man who moved.
Well, and there you go. Again, you have a 3rd and short, and now you end up with another 3rd and long with a mental error.
Gabbert on 3rd and 9. Steps up. Now going to run it. And he's going to pick up the first down. Very wisely keeping an eye on that defender and slides out of bounds at around the 48-yard line. That's Gomes along with Evans who forced him out.
And that's a part of Gabbert's game that I don't think a lot of people realize. At 6'5", 230 pounds. He's a long strider, so he doesn't look very fast, but there he goes for a season-long 25 yards. And a lot of that was because it took so long to develop down the field. The secondary backed out so far.
Fakes the ball to Josie, then throws it at the last minute. That's Rolandus Woodland, sophomore out of St. Louis. And Woodland is the guy that the coaches simply said, every week just gets better and better and better. And he's a good-sized target at 6'3", 200.
And has great speed and somebody they want to stretch the field vertically with. And we saw that earlier when Haig had to reach out and grab his arm a little bit. Otherwise, he had about a step and a half on him.
Second down for the 46. 4-man rush this time. And Gabbert's not going to get away from this one. The 4-man has been devastatingly good. Crick makes the tackle. And it's going to be a third down. They'll still need about 4.
Well, all day long, Nebraska has made life miserable for Blaine Gabbert. He's done a couple of nice jobs getting out of the pocket and picking up some first downs, but for the most part, this defensive line, I think, took a really big challenge after hearing last Saturday night Kirk Herbstreit talk about how good this offensive line was for Missouri. I think they took it as a personal challenge.
Missouri this afternoon on third down conversions. They are 1 of 11. Gabbert gets it away, and it is caught. That's a heck of an effort by Agnew. Michael, the junior out of Plainview, Texas, stretched out and got that one, and he picked up the first down by a couple of yards.
Well, Agnew sees his quarterback in trouble. David, the outside linebacker, right on top of him. I don't know that you can throw it more accurately, and I don't know how many guys could make that catch with a guy draped on his back and trying to swipe at the ball.
Agnew is big enough at 6'6", 235, maybe even larger. Gabbert. And wisely throws it away. Levante David and Pierre Allen combining on who would be the guy who might harass Blaine Gabbert the most.
And that was about a half dozen times where Gabbert has dropped back, had protection early, and Carl Pelini's secondary has had everybody locked down. You know, they play a defense where they play man underneath, and they almost always have a safety behind them for help. And they allow their underneath coverage to play very aggressively because they almost always have these guys back here who have the deep ball to help them out.
Second down, 2nd and 10. Gabbert, little play action. They rolled the pocket that time, and this one incomplete. Robert Flores in New York City. Let's check with you again.
Ron and Ed, North Carolina hasn't lost to an FCS school since 1999, but they're losing to William & Mary 17-7. Mike Paulus has thrown for 2 touchdown passes. He's a North Carolina transfer, and he's also the younger brother of former Duke basketball point guard and Syracuse quarterback Greg Paulus.
Robert, thanks so much. 9th play of the drive coming up here. It all started back at the 22-yard line. And Gabbert wants a timeout. 24-7, Huskers still lead.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Lexus. This is the pursuit of tomorrow. This is the pursuit of perfection. The U.S. Postal Service. And Cooper Tires. Don't give up a thing.
The Psychopath at the Roca Scary Farm just outside of Lincoln has been a popular Halloween destination since 2003. And in fact, an estimated 10,000 people visit that place annually. Well, I'll tell you, this third down to 10, if the Tigers were to pick this up, they could make this stadium a lot scarier place. But that defense of Nebraska has denied them so far, only 7 points. Gabbert looking, still looking, drills the pass, has it complete. That's enough for the first down, and again it's Agnew. He's being pushed back, but they'll give him forward progress to the 28, so it's good for 11 yards.
Well, and give Gabbert credit for hanging in there as the pocket collapsed. Agnew does a great job, like he's going to run an outcut, spins back around, and Gomes wasn't able to keep with him. But Gabbert came back. He had taken his eyes off the route, then found him at the last second for the first down.
So it's a new set of downs, first down at the 28 of Nebraska. Little play action, quarterback keeper. And Gabbert is going to go to the 22-yard line. Austin Cassidy will put a stop on him. You know, this is almost much akin to what Texas started to do against Nebraska when they had all their bases covered as far as on the outside and making sure everything was funneled back to the middle, and the quarterback kept the ball quite a bit.
And if Missouri gets this score, I think more of their playbook's going to open up. They haven't really used much of the run game, but as good as Nebraska is in the secondary, they get this score, they're going to start to be able to do that and even it up some.
This is the 11th play of the drive. Pumped it twice. Nothing there. Now Gabbert's going to run, and he wisely goes out of bounds quickly. Eric Haig. Now this week on ESPN's Monday Night Football, Peyton Manning and the Colts are looking for a little revenge for a Week 1 loss to their AFC South rivals, the Texans of Houston. ESPN's Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown, of course, served by Applebee's.
Yeah, I feel like maybe a misdirection play here for Missouri. 3rd and medium. Maybe.
Well, let's see. Nebraska showing a 4-man rush. See if they stay with it. They've been shifting out of the 4 into the 3. And a timeout called by Missouri. We'll be right back for a big 3rd down play. Well, happy Halloween, everybody, from our crew. Waiting, Wendy. They love to have a good time, whether it's Halloween or not, but particularly on Halloween. Those are the people that help us in the booth. Gives you satisfaction, huh? 3rd down at 5. I'll give you a number. It's kind of scary. Missouri has not reached the red zone today. That touchdown was a 33-yard run. So let's see if they can make it to the red zone. They do. Caught at the 10, at the 5, T.J. Moe. And technically, they still will not have reached the red zone. You know it?
Well,
isn't that amazing?
It's still the coverage today has been just amazing for Nebraska. And this is a Mukamara who could not have been any tighter, and Gabbert couldn't have fit that to any tighter of a window.
Russell with the extra point attempt is up, and it is good. Now, put an asterisk by this point of the ball game. 7:30 left to play, 3rd quarter. All of a sudden, it's a 10-point game of what was 24-0.
And all of a sudden, Nebraska, who has built their offense around Taylor Martinez, looks like they're going to be without him for the entire second half because of what was reported as a knee injury. And Zach Lee or Cody Green's going to have to take this the rest of the way, but a little bit of momentum for Missouri. But it has been, they've had to earn everything offensively, just blown out there in the 1st quarter. But since the 2nd quarter, they have had to earn everything because the coverage for Nebraska has been as good as I've seen all year.
Well, I could only think if you're the offensive coaches of Nebraska, you got to be thinking, run, Roy, run. And just let Helu see if he can carry you. This is Marlowe on the kick return. Marlowe, 40, almost to the 45, and then he gets smacked down pretty hard by Trey Barrow. Robert Flores, what do you got for us this time?
Well, Ron, we got an AT&T Player of the Week update. Illinois' Nathan Shieldhouse doing a little bit of everything for the Illini against Purdue. 4 touchdowns, 195 yards through the air, and then another 119 on the ground. They roll 44-10. You can text VOTE to 345-345 to take part and for a chance at a trip to the national title. Ron, Ed.
Robert, thank you so much, my friend. It's going to be Lee again, Zach Lee at quarterback, the senior out of San Francisco. And he will do just what we suggested. Turn to Roy Helu, and he will carry it for 3 yards. Brad Madison is there defensively.
Yeah, and if you're Sean Watson on the right there, the offensive coordinator, your playbook now shrinks. You know, you just don't have the dynamic runner at quarterback. And the growth that Martinez has had in the passing game, you started to be able to do so many different things, and now part of that is just gone because you're going to miss that speed.
No blitz coming from Missouri. Big opening. Here goes the man we were talking about. Hello, Roy. And he says, hello to you. Touchdown number 3 in the afternoon. 53 yards. extra point attempt. Down and good by Henry. The man has been absolutely shockingly good today.
Well, you mentioned the blitz. Watch Gatchkar come here, but the main offender here is Ebner. Watch how fast he flows, and then the Halou comes right on the cutback. It's also worth mentioning that Dominique Hamilton, a big 300-pound defensive lineman, is out, who broke his ankle last week against Oklahoma. But Ebner, the middle linebacker, that's just a bad read. He didn't read his keys. He's got to read through the guards to the running back, and that time, as soon as Gatchkar blitzed, he just flew over there to try to replace him and completely overran the play. What a day for Halou. 228 yards on 10 carries.
228. He has 3 touchdowns. He scored 2 of the touchdowns, if you just joined us, in the first quarter. His first one on the first play from scrimmage for Nebraska, 66 yards. Then in their second series, he went 73 yards for a touchdown. That gives him 5 carries of over 60 yards this year. Now this one will come out to the 20-yard line. Again, no return.
Well, and Kunalik has done such a wonderful job kicking off, and very helpful for Nebraska, who is down a player today. Of course, Eric Martin, one of their best cover guys on kickoff, was suspended for an illegal hit last week on a kickoff return against Oklahoma State, but they haven't really needed much coverage this week because Kunalik has just been sensational.
I'm trying to double check with Big E. 7 touchbacks. 7 times he has kicked the ball into the end zone, and there's no return. Gabbard, play action, and now here comes the pressure. And that's a smart thing. The crowd's booing. Well, now Randy Crystal says, no, it wasn't smart. He just threw in a flag, and I think he's going to call him for grounding.
Well, you can call illegal pass, which is different than grounding when someone does it on purpose to get away from pressure.
Intentional grounding. Loss of down.
Yeah, it doesn't just have to be, and I know Gary Pinkel's upset, but that rule, you can throw it away, but if you intentionally throw it just to get out of trouble, and let's see if he's out of the pocket. He is, and that's exactly why Randy Crystal called it, because he only threw it in the field of play. Plus, it didn't go beyond the line of scrimmage either, which is another reason that Crystal called that.
So remember, loss of down, and they now scrimmage from the 13-yard line. Pressure, bounces off one tackler, and now Gabbard's going to run it. Has a blocker in front, and he is very close to picking up the first down. Thompson is the man who forced him out. That's a gain of 11. Going to be third down.
And that drove Bo and Carl Pelini, who run the defense together, crazy, because once again, their secondary cannot play any better. There was 5 receivers out, and not one of them was even close to open.
Third down and a yard. Gabbard hands it off, and that's Monroe. Monroe will pick up the first down. Well, after his win last weekend, Denny Hamlin finds himself just 6 points behind Jimmy Johnson and the closest chase in history. Now they head to Talladega, where another or anything can happen. And, of course, everybody is looking to avoid the big one. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues with the AMP Energy Juice 500 on ESPN Sunday at 1 Eastern. And, of course, the big one was that big pileup they had in the early going last year. Gabbard still looking, gets it away, and what a diving grab by Egnew. No, I beg your pardon, TJ Moe. And TJ, in fact, is shaken up after diving for the football. And this is how well you have to throw it just to complete it. This is how well that secondary is covering. I'm going to show you a replay in just a couple of seconds.
Checking Moe's right shoulder. But look how tight the coverage is. Unbelievable. Well, not unbelievable, but a very good catch by TJ Moe, and I think he may have landed on his, watch if he lands on his right elbow. That sometimes jams the shoulder. If anything, it was his left arm. It looked like they were looking at his right shoulder, but he landed awkwardly on his left arm.
Gabbert throws it. Oh, my goodness. Almost intercepted by Amukamara. And he was playing possum. Oh, he was playing possum. He was laying off it at the last moment.
And here's a guy, Umukamara, who was a wide receiver when the Pellinis showed up here. And they said, why is that guy over on offense? He needs to be over with us on defense. And he does that as well as anybody, where the quarterback thinks he's sloughed off and playing off the ball and does a wonderful job breaking on it. And there you see some of the talent that has Mel Kiper, having him rated as the #3 overall prospect in college football for next April's NFL draft.
3-man rush this time for the Huskers. They show blitz off the top. Timeout called by Gabbert.
And Amukamara, of course, they lost Alfonso Dennard earlier in the game. I think the best corner combination in the country. But his father is the chief of a Nigerian village, and all of them with a a P to start their name in their entire family. But this
sisters,
yep.
Yeah, Princess, Precious, Promise, Peace, and Passionate.
But Prince is out of Arizona. Got a little lost in the shuffle here in the Bill Callahan years. They were trying to keep him at wide receiver, and of course when Bo Pelini was hired, they started looking for guys that could line up and play corner the way they want. You know, and Gary Pinkel gave Nebraska a huge compliment. He said the way that they play in their secondary, where they play man underneath with deep safeties and the way they coach it, a lot of people in the country are starting to try to do that. And we've even toyed with it, but they do it, of course, better than anybody because they basically invented it and brought it in to defend the spread.
By the way, Prince has 2 tackles and 2 pass breakups today. 3rd down. They need to take it to the 43. Gabbert looking, still looking. Gets his pass away, and it is caught. Now, did he catch it in bounds? No. Agnew caught it out of bounds.
Well,
he made a heck of an effort.
Boy, he did, and this is going to get reviewed because it looked to me like Agnew's right foot may have been down. Well, they've now said he caught it on the field. What an unbelievable.
Boy, he did.
That is a catch.
Yes. Wow.
Wow, to go up over the top. David is in perfect position. And you mentioned earlier Agnew at 6'6", and that 25-foot long jump in high school. He keeps control of it. He's got it against his face mask, and they're going to review it. But to me, this is going to stand. That's indisputable video evidence that he caught it.
I started to say, plus the fact you got to give credit to Randy Crystal's crew. That's a nice piece of officiating. The official further down the field was a bit unsighted. The one back upfield had a much better view and could see the foot down.
But once again, I look down the field as my eyes shift from the line of scrimmage down to the field. I feel for Blaine Gabbert. I feel for anybody trying to play quarterback against this defense, the way that they're covered. And you go back to last week against Oklahoma State. Yes, Justin Blackman had a huge game and Oklahoma State moved the ball. But the coverage was there. It's just Blackman made good plays on the ball, and today they just haven't been able to do that. I mean, it takes catches like that to get any yardage against this secondary.
Well, and TJ Moe was injured himself trying to, making a catch that he just laid out for, but because he had to.
Well, even the touchdown to Moe. I mean, they were right. Mukamara was right in his hip pocket.
Well, this is timing a leap absolutely perfectly. You see the right foot come down.
And here's a guy in Agnew who last year single-digit tackles. He's now over 60 for the year. Coming into the game, he was number 5 in the country in receptions. But this is indisputable video evidence. The call on the field should be confirmed by the guys upstairs.
After further video review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It was indeed a tackle.
Well, it's going to take plays like that to move the ball downfield on this Nebraska defense, but they just converted another one. 4:54 left in the third quarter. Huskers lead it by 17. Going to go long. One-on-one coverage. Ball knocked away at the last moment. Guess who they were picking on? Ciante Evans.
Well, and Evans came down funny, and he is down. Remember, Dennard already injured. So you cannot lose Evans.
Ciante, a true freshman out of Arlington, Texas. And
boy, that was a nice play on the ball. Evans almost comes up with the interception. And again, another guy coming down, landing awkwardly on his elbow. Watch his left arm. You know, when you land on it like that, it just jams your upper arm into your shoulder socket. And they're testing his grip strength right there. But, you know, Missouri has completely gone away from the run game. And I know they're behind, and it feels like they might be behind more, but their play selection right now, 40 passes to 26 runs, and this is a team that ran for almost 200 yards last week against Missouri. Kind of feel like you've got to start getting that back in there, because the way this secondary is playing, you've got to start making them at least think a run may come, some type of reverse or something, because right now the secondary is just...
Yeah, he's rubbing that elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, over 200 against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I know what you meant to say. Let's see if they keep throwing the football. They almost have to, don't they, in this situation? Second down and 10. Caught by Kemp, and again, a little bit of a gamble over there, and it almost backfired into 6 points. Austin Cassidy on the cover.
Well, and that was Anthony West, who now has to come in. Usually play safety, but it was has been a cornerback in the past. Almost makes a good play.
Mm-hmm.
You'd rather see that guy make the tackle than try to go for the ball.
This is their first time that they have snapped the ball in the red zone. And this running play to Moore is going to go for maybe a yard, and that's about it.
You know, and this third quarter has taken a long time. So for Missouri, you get a score here, maybe get into the fourth quarter only down 10. And I would think that David Yost, the next time they get the ball back, is going to start sprinkling in some more runs.
One thing, this is the longest that this Nebraska defense has had to stay on the field. This is the 10th play of the drive coming up. It started at their own 20. And, you know, they could start to tire just a little anyway. Go to the end zone. Ball is caught by Jackson. No. Incomplete. Beg your pardon.
Well, and that's all about Prince Amukamara not giving up on the play, because this ball was initially caught by Jackson. He runs the stop and go, and Amukamara got spun around, but do you see how he turned and found that ball and was able to go fight it? That's just a quality corner. Even though you're beat, you've got to find the ball, because you have to be able to make a play on it at the corner of the end zone. That was fine play by Amukamara.
Third down. They can keep the drive alive if they take the ball down to the 5-yard line. So that's a flag if he called a timeout.
Yeah, they're out of timeouts.
Yeah, they don't have any more.
Delay, offense, 5-yard penalty, third down.
I will never forget New Orleans, Louisiana, sitting on the sideline doing the radio broadcasts, and a timeout called by one of the Fab Five as Michigan was trying to win the national championship. They didn't have any. And it was the coup de grace on that one. Third down. Still got to go with the 5. Gabbard. Gonna run at 10 at the 5, goes down at the 1. Then he lost the ball. The official, the field judge, is saying that he is down. He has his left foot out at just inside the 1 yard line.
And an excellent job by Wes Kemp. As Gabbert came to that side, both his receivers took off, and Kemp finally saw Gabbert coming and turned and got a block. He was working right there one-on-one on Evans, who's back into the game. Yeah, I believe he was down. They may review this, but this will be a much better angle for us. No, they missed a face mask on Crick. But
so the crowd is booing it. If they really took a closer look, they'd say, whoa, wait a minute here. Let's don't boo too loud.
No.
Yeah, that's a face mask right there.
Well, you know, that ball on that angle there looked like it was coming loose before Gabbert hit the ground. And they are reviewing to see if this is a fumble. Let's see. Well, it was the angle before where it looked to me like that ball may have been coming loose before Gabbert fell. Of course, they cannot review. Just to be clear, they cannot review. Well, that looks to me like a fumble. They cannot review the face mask penalty, so just wipe that away. It didn't happen. But let's see if that ball is moving. Oh, his left knee's down. Ooh. Well, here's the thing. We're on that angle there. On that angle there, it looks to me like his knee hits the ground just as the ball starts to move. And remember, it has to be indisputable video evidence. Now watch the left knee right there. And the ball is in his grasp. I don't think they can overturn this. I think it's got to be Missouri ball in the first on the 1 yard line, because it looked like simultaneous to me that the left knee and the ball was moving at the same time the left knee hit.
Randy Crystal, the veteran referee in the left side of your screen with the white hat today.
And the ball was recovered by Nebraska in the end zone. So if they were to overturn the call, first down, Nebraska at the 20.
I think Randy is getting a verdict now. Well, we got 3:21 to play in the third, and certainly the biggest call of the game, and here comes the verdict.
After further video review, the call stands as called. Please put 3:24 on the game clock.
Yeah, that's what took so long. They were trying to get us to see where the clock should be reset to. So 3:24.
Well, and remember, the language is if the video evidence confirms it, they say it confirmed, because they say it stood, because they couldn't clearly tell if the ball came out before his left knee hit. I think it was the right decision.
Well, Missouri has now converted 7 third downs in a row after going 0 for 10.
Well, this is going to be a tough one. It looked to me like Palmgren was settling in his stance and Crick took off. Not sure which way they're going to go with this call.
Offside. First down.
And the reason Bo Pelini is so upset here is watch the left guard, Palmgren. Oh yeah, that's a bad call. Yeah, that should be first and goal from the 6.
Straight ahead with the quarterback sneak and absolutely nothing. Crick and Will Compton inviting on the stop.
And this is a part of the field where Missouri's offense is not exactly built for this. Although they have their extra linemen in, they're lining up more as double tight ends than in the backfield, and still in shotgun, which is a tough place to run short yardage from.
Well, gave it to Josie. Nothing. Well, he's still driving, still pumping those legs, and the official. He almost put up his second arm, didn't he? I was saying, well, wait a minute, maybe he did score, but not.
But
Third down.
And I think you've got to get up under center. You've got to put Gabbert up under center. Take those big linemen, put them up between the guard and the tackle like they've been. The shotgun snap, unless you're going to throw it, which might be the case. Fade to Kemp, possibly.
Well, they stay in the shotgun. Play action. Gabbert spun over. Did not make it. It's fourth down. Keontae Evans is the man who came up to make the hit. Spun him around.
Well, and Gabbert got turned over and got up awfully slow. You know, if you're going to run this, you do have a running quarterback in James Franklin. What a wonderful tackle by Evans. But you have no choice but to go for it. I think you've got to get under center and run a quarterback sneak.
15th play of the drive coming up. Gabbert will go under center. Pitch the ball back, and I'll tell you, the back was moving.
Yep.
Henry Josie was moving.
I think you got to kick the field goal here if you're Gary Pinkel. If you get the 31-17, you're down 2 scores. But I think you have to kick this field goal now.
So 39 seconds left in the third quarter. Nebraska jumped out on top 24-0 in the first quarter. Missouri keeps desperately trying to get back in it. This is a 23-yard attempt by Russell, and he got it.
What a wonderful stop by Nebraska, but they got a little bit of help.
Yeah, you can see Josie. He came out of his stance. He definitely moved. And the interesting thing is, this crowd is so knowledgeable about football, they still applauded after the field goal was hit because it was a moral victory for them, more than that.
Absolutely. And but you put a true freshman in there, it looks like Josie's going to walk in, but he makes a freshman mistake on a big stage.
Well, right now, let's take a look at today's Good Hands play, of course, brought to you by Allstate.
Well, you can't have much better hands than this. It ended up being the right hand of Michael Egnew. Watch him put that ball against his face mask and have the smarts to know if I leave it there and it doesn't move, it's a catch. If I try to bring it down and it juggles while I'm stepping out of bounds, not a catch.
Barrow prepares to kick it off. It just blew off the tee. We were just asking, maybe a front pass through because those flags have shifted a couple of times, but they're blowing a little bit stronger now than when we started the day. Here comes the kick. The approach, you kick it on the ground. Take it at the 15. This is Niles Paul.
Of course, Niles Paul had that 100-yarder last week against Oklahoma State, and I think that's what Gary Pinkel was thinking. Let's kick this one on the ground and not let him take it the distance on us.
Well, the Missouri defense, the season and today, you look at the number of points allowed, rushing, and total yards.
Well, only 7 since the first quarter, right? 24 in that first quarter. Without Taylor Martinez, of course, they still have Roy Hello Jr., who's been a nightmare for them the day before.
Zach Lee at quarterback, turns it off to Hello. And when he handed it off on a good second effort, Hello's going to wind up with a gain of 6. Jasper Simmons defensively from his free safety spot, making the tackle.
Well, Hello just creeped into double-digit carries. I think he's going to get up near 20-25 before this is over. With 31-17 up 2 scores, I think that Nebraska is going to look like they're a Big 8 team again in this fourth quarter coming up.
Well, 2 things you got to accomplish right now as we are at 57 seconds left in the third. Hello's going to keep it on the ground, close to the first down. And here's a quick report from Janine on Martinez.
Yeah, guys, despite Bo Pelini telling me at half that his quarterback was okay, well, if there was any doubt that he might be re-entering the game, they just untaped his ankles, guys. He is done.
Yep. Well, and that's the wise thing to do. You can't lose the rest of the season on this game this afternoon, and they're capable people who are back there. The point I was going to make, if you can continue to run the ball, you're going to give some rest for that defense who stayed out there a pretty good while in the last two sequences, as Halou just picked up the first down. Simmons on the stop. But and the other thing, obviously, then is to get into the fourth quarter and start milking that fourth quarter clock.
And here it comes, and you can hear this crowd.
Yes.
They know the position they're in and the size of this game. Remember, Nebraska is leaving for the Big Ten next year, and they said at the start of the season, our #1 goal is to win this conference. They didn't even talk about national championship, but it's to win this conference in our last year. And, of course, I would imagine the whole conference watching this game is pulling a little bit for Missouri.
So the score, the Huskers 31 and the Tigers 17. Halou scores third touchdown of the day in that third quarter. Nebraska's goal line stand. Fourth quarter coming up. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Lincoln. College football lives here.
Well, thank you, ladies. The cheerleaders from Nebraska. And a lot of people do think that college football lives here. 85,907 people on hand today for this. Another sellout. We're heading on now to 5 decades of sellouts here at Memorial Stadium.
That is the line by number 32, Will Hebner.
Well, so the stats through 3 quarters, this is what they look like, Ed. What do you see?
Almost 10 yards per play for Nebraska is what I see. Of course, a lot of that has to do with Roy Halou and an amazing game so far. And I think his numbers are going to continue to increase. What do you think here in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I certainly think it's the smart thing to do if you can get it to work and you can continue to move those chains. Well, they take him wide to the left, and he's going to have another first down. So Halou continues to have just a Halucious day. Maybe that's a bit. You know, in the third quarter, what do we got? 21-8, Missouri. The number of plays that they had compared to that of Nebraska. So I go back to the point, the Nebraska defense probably got a little winded. And right now what's happening is just what the doctor ordered for Bo Pelini.
But they made them earn it. There was no big plays, so they were playing right into what they wanted to do offense. Okay, you give up a score, although just a field goal, mind you. But you made them use a lot of clock to do it.
Well, Lee keeps it. And there is another good, sure, open field tackle by Missouri. I'll tell you, after watching them the other night against Oklahoma and what I've seen this afternoon, Missouri may be as good a tackling team one-on-one in the open as any team we've seen.
Yeah, the problems they've had today haven't been tackling. It's that there's been huge gaping holes and Roy Halou has run by everybody. But when they've gotten off blocks and played their gaps, they've been solid.
Lee on the keeper. First down, Nebraska.
The ups and downs for Nebraska, the first 24 points of the game. Halou up to 250 yards. Martinez out with the injury. Let's not forget Alfonso Dennard, a very key player in that secondary.
Yeah, and also I'm glad that you remembered that, because he really is an integral part of that secondary.
Can you imagine how good they would be playing if he were healthy for the last 3 quarters? I mean, even without him, they've played unbelievably well.
Here's Halou. And he's going to take it for a gain of 3. And right now, again, this crowd doesn't care aesthetically what it looks like. They understand how important it is with number 3 sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bo Pelini's headset reaches Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator. I know he works more on the defensive side, but I bet you he's had a few conversations here in the second half with his OC there on the right, saying, let's feed it to our guys and let's get out of here.
Hello turns it back upfield. He'll take it to the 22-yard line.
You know, that doesn't look like much of a run, but when you run that stretch, how many guys do you see who think, okay, I'm just going to take off for the side and get out of here? But that time, Halou, as he stretched, and then very patiently, he cuts back and picks up 2, 3, 4 yards. I'm telling you, this guy is, I think he's got a very bright future at the next level. He does everything well.
Halou, 256 yards rushing, tied for third best in Nebraska history. So every time he touches it, he can rewrite it a little bit more. Turns the corner, and they're going to stop him for a loss on this play. Going to lose a couple.
Well, now he goes back to fourth best all time.
It'll change, and you know it. Yeah, the biggest thing there, well, no, they did not say that he was forced out of bounds, so clock continues to run.
And there is Bo Pelini's favorite player, Alex Henry. He just loves the way this guy approaches the game. Here you are up 14, a field goal. Doesn't quite end the game, but it sure makes it a little more comfortable.
All right, this attempt is going to come from the 41, which obviously is a 51-yard attempt. Good pass. The ball is blocked. The ball was blocked. So Missouri will take the football over at the 34-yard line.
Well, and unusual for Henry. This is a little bit of a low kick. Not very much push and just one arm. Jacquez Smith will be credited with the block.
(31-17). Jacquez Smith on the left is the one who blocked that field goal attempt, ending a string of 18 in a row by Henry. Here's the pass, near sideline, overthrown and incomplete. Here comes in a late flag.
No, they're going to get Eric Haig for holding on TJ Moe.
Let me also talk about the reason I think.
Number 28, 10-yard penalty. First down.
The reason it was so important for Nebraska to have held on to the ball as much as they did before the block field goal, their last two drives are 12 plays and 15 plays, and totaling 9 minutes and 25 seconds. So I would imagine that this defensive unit is very pleased to get that break.
And that call right there was an out and up to Moe, because I think they were trying to get a quick one.
This is Moore moving the pile. He's going to have 3 yards.
And you know, for Missouri, they go with a no huddle, but it's not a hurry up. They do a lot of movement, a lot of shifting, but I know you want to keep the run game in. They got away from it there from, about the middle of the first quarter till the end of the third quarter, but I feel like they should be moving a little more quickly, because you know what Nebraska's going to do when they get the ball back.
It was Devin Moore that the quarterback was sending way outside on the left, and now
substitution infraction, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, and you're down 14 on the road, and the run game for the other team has been playing the way they have. This is a long day for Gary Pinkel and the Tigers. They're going to have to get something quick and then hope to get a defensive stop, or else this clock's going to run out on them.
Huskers lead it by 14. 9 minutes and 30 seconds left to play in our ball game. Pressure off the corner, and he is sacked, and that's Osborne. Ball came loose. Gabbard is down, but the official saying that the play is dead.
Yeah, and this should be a penalty on Osborne. We already talked about Eric Martin, who was suspended for an illegal hit last week against Oklahoma State, and I am shocked that this call was not made. Here comes Osborne off the edge, and this, by definition, is targeting. That is going after a player. The shoulders are above, and that flag needed to be thrown.
Please put 9 9:14 on the game clock. 9:14.
And I'm shocked Gabbert's still in the game. He looked wobbly. I think that Missouri should get him off the field. He does not look like he has full control of himself right now. And you know, this is, they're looking at this to see if he fumbled, which he did, but they missed the penalty. This again is something we're trying to get out of this game, and that was clearly an illegal hit by Osborne.
So we are back, third down. They got to go all the way over midfield to the 46-yard line to pick up the first down. Gabbard, and he's going to run it out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Eric Haig forced him out.
And once again, the secondary for Nebraska, just there's nobody open. That time there was 3 vertical routes, and they were covered beautifully, and Gabbard just had nowhere to go. Third and long, of course, you've got to go vertical. But that time and time again, Nebraska has had unbelievable coverage today.
So Grabner back to punt for the Tigers. The 8th punt of the afternoon by Mizzou. Here's the boot. And Nebraska not even wanted to fool with handling the football and taking a chance and turning it over. Burkhead just ran away from it. So let's take a timeout. 8:40 left in the ball game. 14-point lead Huskers. Well, this is the last game for our crew, for our operations producer Lindsey Gagnon. And we want to thank him for all his hard work and wish him well in his new assignment with College Game Day. He's the man that does just myriad things with the crew, and without him we absolutely could not function as efficiently as we have been able to. As you look at the victory bell down on the sideline. Lindsey, good luck to you, my friend. We wish you well. Hey, Lou. And he got shoved out of bounds at the 15. Kevin Rutland made the play.
Lou getting close to 20 carries. I figured he's going to end up in that mid-20s to 30s, 261 yards, taking over the run duties as Taylor Martinez still out with a knee injury.
Blake broke the first tackle, has the first down. Let's take a look at our Pacific Light game summary.
Well, Taylor Martinez hit by Kenja Jackson. I thought it might have been a thigh bruise, but when you re-look at that, it did look like his knee tweaked a little bit, and that's the report Janine Edwards got. But this game has been all about Roy Helu Jr. He very quietly had a really nice career, creeping into the top 10 all-time leading rushers here at Nebraska.
Gonna carry it again. Once you get lathered, that's what good running backs want to do.
And this is where defenses, they're the ones who have to chase the ball. Those big defensive linemen always pursuing, and in the fourth quarter, a run that was probably 2 or 3 yards in the first, second, or third quarter becomes 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. And a guy like Helu at 220 pounds starts to feel like he's about 270 pounds when you go to tackle him.
Iowa, we are told, just won 37-6 over Michigan State. Robert Flores in New York City. Let's check with you.
All right, Ron, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, presented by Sprint. Right now on ESPN2, Auburn leads Ole Miss 17-14, but Ole Miss got a touchdown pass from Jeremiah Masola to Marquise Summers, and John Flanders intercepts Tommy Reese in the end zone with Notre Dame driving for the go-ahead field goal. Tulsa wins by 1 in South Bend.
Wow. Tulsa by 1 over Notre Dame in South Bend. One of the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes will remember for a long time. Zach Lee throws it, and it was caught. Kyder Reed went up high and made the catch on a big third down play. It's big if you're Nebraska because you just want to keep running this clock.
Well, and a really nice job by Zach Lee, the senior quarterback, unseated by freshman Martinez, who was injured earlier, keeps the play alive with his feet. And watch this throw and catch. Wow, I think he got both his feet down.
Yeah, he did. And Kyder Reed really is coming into his own. And you can tell here's a guy that's having a lot of fun.
And I believe they may review this. On our first look,
the play is under further review.
You know, here are the people in front of Helu as far as the records. As far as rushing, Calvin Jones, 294 against Kansas in 91. Mike Rozier in 285 in 1983. As you look one more time, and looks like his left toe gets down.
Does the ball? He's got to finish the catch. What it looks like he did.
Helu 276 yards today, so he's within 18 of becoming the all-time single-game rushing leader for Nebraska this afternoon. So let's take a break. Huskers up by 14. We are reviewing. Hey, college football fans, it's time to put your college on the map. Build your own campus from scratch with ESPNU College Town. Find your school, pick your buildings, and recruit players. You can even challenge your friends across the country to see whose program is actually number one. So what you got to do is go to BeTheDean.com now to start playing. 14-point ball game with the clock now running. 5 minutes and 49 seconds left. And Nebraska would like a couple of more first downs, and that would just about take care of it for them. Helu takes it into the hole for about 4 yards.
Well, you start to look at the Big 12 North for Nebraska. Obviously, the winner of this game controls their own fate in the North. But because of that loss to Texas, Nebraska really can't slip up. If Missouri does end up getting the loss here, they're only going to have one loss in conference. And both of their schedules lay out like they could win out in the next 4 games. So even though they'll take the commander seat, it's not a done deal by any stretch.
Helu breaks it out. Not only has the first down, he's getting into record territory. He is down to the 40-yard line. And with that run, now he can't lose it at the yard right now, but folks, he has just become the most prolific single-game rusher in Nebraska history. 295 yards on the day.
And let's read off those offensive linemen. Yoshi Hardrick, Keith Williams, Mike Caputo, Ricky Henry, DJ Jones. They have opened some massive holes for Helu today.
Yep. We would be remiss if we did not mention him. You're exactly right, Ed. And he's going to carry it again. And this one, he's going to be stopped for no gain. Janine, let's check back with you.
Well, Ron, earlier in the game, you guys mentioned that Nebraska was playing without Eric Martin. He's suspended for this game for his hit on Andrew Hudson from Oklahoma State last week. I got an update on Hudson yesterday from Oklahoma State officials who told me that he has an extremely severe concussion. That is a direct quote. And they say he'll be out for an extended period of time and may miss the rest of the season.
Okay, Janine, thanks very much. Our clock now at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. It is a 2nd down and 10. Helu close to the first down. Well, football on ABC continues tonight with the Pac-10 showdown as the second-ranked Oregon Ducks take on arch rival Southern California. And, of course, number 11, Ohio State, will be going up against Minnesota. All of us presented by Southwest Airlines. 8 o'clock Eastern time.
And Matt Barkley has really started to play well. He had those 4 interceptions, 2 games in a row with 2 interceptions, but he's been 4 games without, and 2 weeks to prepare for USC. Don't forget that.
Well, it's going to be Halou with the carry. They're trying to rake the ball out of his hands. It will now be 4th down.
How about Halou one more time to see
304 yards is what he has right now. And that's what the crowd is chanting for.
Absolutely. I mean, you think of some of the names from this program. Johnny Rogers, Mike Rozier, and he will be #1 on the list for a single game.
He's going to go out. They're going to take him out of the ball game. The crowd is just now realizing it, and they're giving him an ovation. I wish the PA announcer would go ahead and announce right now that he just broke the single game rushing record in the history of Cornhusker football.
Pretty good company.
Yep, Nebraska has now called a timeout.
.66-73, and
the other one was over 50.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got an average track of 11.3 per try, and
well, you gave him a half a game ball in the first half, so you went ahead and stitched it together.
I'll tell you, we may stitch a special one together for him.
Yeah.
Because the interesting thing is, like, you get an injury to your #1 quarterback, and certainly nothing against Zach Lee or against Cody Green, but the guy who has been making this machine run, and you got one real choice. You got to do something to occupy time and keep the ball away from Missouri. And
Missouri knew what they were going to do.
That's exactly right.
And that's a credit to this offensive line. And this offensive line last year, tons of injuries.
Halou is back on the field. So he is the man lined up at the top of the eye. They'll give it to him, and he will have the first down. Boy, you look over across the way, and the first person that I see is offensive line coach Barney Cotton, and he is out there on the field pumping it one right after another, saying, way to go, guys.
Well, his group was Barney Cotton's group last year, with guys in and out of the lineup. They just couldn't get any rhythm going. There's a look at Barney Cotton, whose son Ben is a starting tight end. But this group up front has played. Missouri has known what they were going to do as soon as Taylor Martinez went out of the game, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Well, they're going to... Well, here's a reminder, the CNA Awards with performances by the biggest stars in country music, hosted by Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood. It's live on Wednesday, November the 10th at 8, 7 Central on ABC.
And for Nebraska, now they are sitting in first place with a tiebreaker over Missouri because of the head-to-head win. And their upcoming games are all winnable. Not saying they're going to win, but their schedule breaks out at Iowa State, Kansas, at Texas A&M, and then the Friday after Thanksgiving against Colorado to see if they can't play for their second Big 12 championship game in a row.
So they're going to have to do it one more time. Look at Bo Pelini.
Oh, he should be. They're going to look at this film. I don't know if they understood how well their secondary played today. I mean, they're going to look at that film and think, my gosh, and this offense for Missouri is no joke. And to come out and play like they did in the secondary, I don't remember a play where I saw a guy running open by more than 2 yards. I just don't remember one.
Really didn't happen. Last time, Lee will take a knee, and that is it. Clock runs down, 17-16. Here are the updated standings in the North for the Big 12 Conference.
But let's not forget, Iowa State came here last year and won. If they can do that again, they also play Missouri, so Iowa State can control its own destiny in the North as well.
Janine, let's check in with you down on the sideline.
Yeah, he's wanting to shake the hand of Blaine Gabbert here. He's having a couple of words with Blaine. And then I'm going to jump in here and congratulate him on a job well done today, Coach Pelini. You had told us this week that you wanted your team a little bit looser for this game. You guys have had some out-of-character plays here at home. What made the difference today?
You know, our kid, we executed. We played well. We did a lot of things well on both sides of football. We beat a pretty good football team today. And we executed, and I'm just happy for the kids.
How were you able to keep so much pressure on Gabbert?
You know what? We just changed it up. We gave him a lot of different looks, and he's a good football player. He made a lot of plays out there, too.
Now, there are a couple of stats on the sheet I know that stand out. Number one, no turnovers for you guys. And number two, Roy Helu just set a single-game rushing record. You've got to be pretty impressed with his performance today.
Yeah, it's a team game, and that doesn't happen without the guys up front. And I thought all across the board we played pretty good football.
Your O-line was outstanding as well. Congratulations, Bo.
Thank you.
Once again, our final score is the Huskers 31 and the Missouri Tigers 17. Tune in tonight for more college football on ABC. It's number 2 Oregon against USC and number 11 Ohio State against Minnesota on ESPN. It's Michigan against Penn State. For Ed Cunningham and Janine Edwards, Ron Franklin saying so long from Lincoln, Nebraska.